how it just suddenly went out of tune really badly just before I got on air. And I can't work out how to quickly get it back, so I probably won't bother. How have you been? I am in my Halloween stroke November the 5th bonfire night thing. Hello, Philip. This is my big cloak. What am I? Am I Guy Fawkes? Am I Jonathan Ross from The Traitors? Am I the evil queen? Am I just me in a silly cape thing? Yes, all of that. Happy bonfire night next week. Happy Halloween last week. Happy Sunday if it's a Sunday, and happy. And then that's completely out. I can't play the guitar anyway, but I can't play it now because that one's completely out, and I can't work out how. It's gone wrong. It all goes wrong. If you get one out, then the whole thing falls apart horribly. Anyway, so I'm sure you'll be relieved that I can't play the guitar today because I couldn't play anyway, and I'm gonna play it without the first string, which is the E string, which is not E at the moment. It's all wrong, it's all gone wrong, it's always going wrong. Some of them are alright, not of them. Goth music can accommodate that. Bela Lugosi's dead. Yeah, so there you go. Anything is possible if you've got the right mindset. So yes, it is 2 days after Halloween, and a few days, as I'm saying this, when you're watching this might not be. The people here, yes, that is true. The people not here, well, it might not be true anyway, because if you're in a different time zone, I think it's already tomorrow in Australia, and it's maybe still yesterday somewhere else. Possibly not by now. It's late in the day. Everything's late in the day. It's Halloween-y, but it's not. What do you cook on a bonfire? Weenies. Frankfurters. Yes, no. This got me the other day. Somebody said that they got an American, it was, said they've got a special fact that they found out, a joke that they didn't realise in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Rocky Horror Show, that was another layer that they hadn't thought about. Now, as you know, the first name of Dr. Frankenfurter, very much based on hot dog sausages. You're a hot dog. So, and there are connotations to hot dogs. But they claimed that in the 1970s in Britain, Frank and Fur was British slang for two sorts of bits that people might have, and that was another layer that you might take into consideration. Now, it's conceivable that somebody might have used that, but I don't think it was generally slang. And I think most people wouldn't have gone, ha ha, look at that clever slang, because it isn't. It is, you can make it that, you can make anything. If you want, with all the will in the world, you can make anything. But it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. So I thought I'd look it up. And the trouble with the internet is now completely rubbish. It's terrible. It's infected with AI. So if you look it up, it says the AI at the beginning, because I'm lazy. Usually I go and look on a different site, but if you're very quickly looking something up and you go to Google rather than somewhere that doesn't use AI, because the place that I go to doesn't use AI. I've switched it off. It can. It's going, haha, we can use AI. It's like, no, you don't. I don't want it. So I turned it off. You can't turn it off on Google. And the very first thing says that Frankenfurter was British slang. And you go, and what are your references? And you click on the reference, and the reference is the video that's saying it. So that's not a reference, is it? You can't just go, oh, well, it's true because I said it was true. And this is my reference, me saying it's true. Now, it's possible that it might be true, but if the only reference on the whole of the internet that is found by the AI is you saying it, then it isn't probably true. If it is not true enough to pass Yes, it's a time warp loop. Exactly. It's a bit of a mind flip. You're into the time slip, and the video that you're referencing is your video. La 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 la. You can't reference yourself. That's not on. That's completely. The world has gone wrong. What is going on? I mean, there's worse things in the world at the moment to worry about. Quite a lot of worse things, to be honest. But remember. See, a lot of people have been saying, bonfire night, it's all about an effigy, a burning effigy of everything I used to be. Oh, you're my rock of empathy. No, it's that's what people do. And a lot of people were under the misapprehension that we were celebrating Guy Fawkes. And to be honest, I think most of us were. Most of us were on Guy Fawkes' side, not necessarily I mean, don't want to hurt people, and you also don't want to be a radical of any sort. You definitely don't want to be an extremist, but in a strange way, because he failed, and Britain loves a failure. That's the best thing that you can be if you're a British person. If you fail miserably, you are a hero. And that's the thing. If he'd succeeded, he would not be a hero. People would have gone, oh, that's not on, is it? But the fact he failed so very badly and was set up by the rest, because he wasn't the only one that was doing this. He was just the one that got caught and got all the blame. And that was the end of him. Guido Fawkes, oh dearie me, that was a bit of a mistake, wasn't it? So we're not celebrating him doing it. We're celebrating the fact that he was a glorious failure. Aha, you failure. Well done being a failure. That's what we're celebrating, really. And also the whole idea of it. And, you know, in Lewis, they do make effigies of the hated person of the day, and then they parade them through the street and go, ha ha ha. And then on the beach, they make a giant bonfire and they put the effigy on the top and they go, ha 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 ha. It's very Wicker Man, really. There's not actually any human sacrifice involved, but it's back to that day. It's the same as the Wicker Man, really. You go, ha ha. We will. It's, you know, it's like King for the Day or the Holy Fool, the sort of thing. It's like you celebrate the person just so you can go, aha, you are the best, and now we will put you on the bonfire. You do it. They've done it with that's what they do with all celebrities. So they put them up. If you look at the Daily Mail, what they do, they spend years and years building somebody up and going, look at the wonderful outfit they're wearing, and look at all the relationships they're having, and la 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 la. And somebody that is probably not really celebrity worthy and all. Sometimes the talent usually gets in the way. If they're see, Amy Winehouse was a talented person, and the talent got in the way of the fact that they you know, it's like, oh, pesky talent. If she'd had no talent, they would have carried on for a little bit longer, but the talent gets in the way. So in the end, they will get you, though. They will celebrate you, and then they will put you on your bonfire, on their bonfire, on their bonfire, on your bonfire, and everybody's bonfire. And that will be the end of you. And the more celebrated you are for a tiny portion, the tiniest thing you do is going to be, ha, that's the end of you. So if you are amazing and brilliant and amazing and everyone thinks you're the best ever for a period of time, the tiniest thing you do is going to be the end of you. Whereas if you're a bit mediocre, you can carry on doing mediocre things and being a bit rubbish and doing things that are a little bit scandalous for a while. And you're like, ha. So if you're a little bit, yeah, you're sort of, ha, you look like your tabloid fodder. You go, and you're up and down, you're in the tabloids all the time. But if you're amazing and good, so like, say, Amy Winehouse, I'm not saying the tabloids destroyed her, but they didn't help, did they? So that's what happens. So we put people up and then we put them down again. That's just the British way, to be honest. That's just the tabloid. That's just the media that does that. It's not just Britain. It's everywhere else as well. But we really like a loser in a lot of ways. Eddie the Eagle. No, we're not going to put him on a bonfire because he's sort of mediocre enough to carry on, and then we'll forget about him. So he doesn't need to be put on the bonfire. He wasn't ever at the pinnacle. He wasn't really at the top. So somebody that we can put to the top, even though they're not really worth it, then plummet it down like a giant ski slope, a ski slope. So he went to the top and then he went right back down again. But that was literal. Usually it's metaphorical. So that's how we do it here. So, but the best thing about bonfire night is the potatoes, the baked potatoes. You put them in the bonfire and then you eat the potato. Yum, 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 yum. You don't even need anything on it. You just go, ha ha, crunchy potato. Aha, I feel like a cave person. I hope that wasn't a rat that got in there. No, it's a potato. Good. Hooray. So that's what you do there. And there used to be more fireworks. You used to have sparklers and you used to just have fireworks in your hand. It's like, oh no. And there was it terrified me as a child that they have public information films that tell you what not to do. Generally, it's like, oh, don't go with strangers. Charlie says, don't. Oh, don't play with matches, Charlie says. Now, fireworks was a particular gold mine for these public information films, because just before and just after they would tell you all about the terrible things that can happen if you handle fireworks. Don't go back after you've lit the blue touch paper. Don't throw the fireworks in the street. Don't do any of this thing. And it terrified me so much for the days before and after firework night outside that, I wouldn't mind going to a legitimate bonfire night where I thought everything was safe and you can stand when you're like, keep away from me. But I wouldn't go out on the street because the terrifying public information films would tell you all the things that people would do with fireworks. So it would be quite dangerous. And I did not like them. And then, to be honest, it used to be that you could get them a lot more easily. And you go out the next day and there'd just be fireworks littering the street. Because, to be honest, I think people that wouldn't have normally thrown them at people or onto the street or into things or, or into a bonfire, did it because they'd seen these public information films warning people not to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had that idea and it wouldn't have happened. So, vicious circle, really. By telling people what not to do, they do it. That's, again, human nature, isn't it? Human nature. Hello, has anybody talked to me? Because it's going and coming, this live chat. Yeah, I had to make your own. Did you have to make your own fireworks? Oh, yes, yogurt pots and ski back plastic. Yes, the Blue Peter way, Philip. I don't know, did they have an equivalent of Blue Peter in Canada and America, USA, or in South America for anybody from there, or anywhere else that you are? Did they have the equivalent of Blue? Do you know what Blue Peter is? Blue Peter was a show that you made your own stuff on. They were very famous for doing a Tracy Island a long time ago. A Tracy Island made out of papier-mâché and sticky back plastic. That's what they did. And they also made a candle thing for Christmas. They used to make a candle thing every Christmas. They had a coat hanger and another coat hanger. And then they put loads of glittery sort of tinsel around it. And then they put candles in it, which is a fire hazard and really not sensible, but that's what they do on Blue Peter. And they'd also have people going steeplejacking, people climbing trees, people jumping from aeroplanes, people in the breeze, people doing silly things and breaking their legs quite often, and then coming onto the show with their legs in a cast. They do loads of things like that. And they did that also on Game for a Laugh. I remember, I think, that either one of the other of them was in a cast for quite a long time. It might have been Jeremy, what's his name? What was his name? He had Littlefinger. Not from Game of Thrones. No, not him. Jeremy Beadle. And there was also Henry something going for gold. Henry, what's his name? Anyway, he wasn't on Blue Peter. Blue Peter was quite interesting. Blue Peter, they do crafts and they do very nice middle classy things. Now, you either watch Blue Peter or you watch Magpie, which is on the other side. Now, Magpie was a similar thing, but it was punk rock. Ooh, 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, and 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for a gold, 7 for a secret, never to be told. Magpie. But Blue Peter was or something like that. So they would. That isn't. I don't think that is the theme tune, but it was similar to that. I haven't seen it for years. So Blue Peter, you get a badge if you went on it. and a Blue Peter badge, which was very, very, you really wanted it. If you were a nice little kid, you'd like that, and you go, I like Blue Peter, and I read books, and I do gardening, and then because they had a Blue Peter gardening where they buried all their pets that had died, they had a tortoise, as we say tortoise, it's a tortoise, isn't it? A tortoise that they called Frida, but they thought it was a boy tortoise, so they put Fred. They'd written Fred on its shell. Now the thing is, you shouldn't graffiti a tortoise's, a turtle shell, because it's part of it. It's like, it's not good, is it? But they put Fred. They misgendered this tortoise, and they had to put an A on the end of it to make it Frida. When they realised that it wasn't called Fred, it was Frida the tortoise. Anyway, I don't know whether they buried Fred, in the Blue Peter garden, but they certainly buried several. Shep, I think, and Goldie, was that one, and other things like that. Petra or Petal, something. Anyway, they had them in the Blue Peter garden, and they'd also make time capsules. So they put a little thing, make a box, and they'd say, these are the things from 1980, 1990, whenever, 2000, and we'll bury them in the box, and we put them in, and we'll dig them up in 20 years' time. The trouble is, in 20 years' time, the Blue Peter garden was gone, because it was in White City, and White City was in West London, and they sold that. They sold that BBC building, and the Blue Peter garden was just destroyed. I think it's luxury flats now. I think there might be some studios there that ITV and stuff hire. I think Antodec might go there, but it is not really a Blue Peter garden anymore, and it's not a BBC building. So the time capsules just went to rot, and the dead pets, I don't know what happened to them. So that was fun. Yay! Anyway, that was Blue Peter. So did you have anything like that? I don't know whether there's the equivalent. Henry Kelly, that's it. Henry Kelly. I've just looked at it. The fire department came. Chemicals in your garden. Chemicals in the Blue Peter garden. I think some people vandalised it one time, if I remember. Anyway, Blue Peter will haunt that building forever, for sure. Blue Peter will haunt that White City building forever. But it's not there anymore, and there's other BBC buildings around, scattered around, but it's not the same, is it? They used to have all sorts of stuff from that building. They used to film outside. It was very iconic. It was very distinctive, and you go, yes, when I grow up, I'll go and visit that building. But then when you grew up, that building wasn't the same thing anymore. It's just, I think some of it's still there. Maybe all of it's still there. It's probably littered with asbestos and it's concrete rot and stuff. It was probably not safe, really. But, there used to be all sorts. There used to be jokes in all of the light entertainment programs. They do a joke about hanging out at the BBC canteen and people being mean and not paying for their toast and stuff like that. And funny jokes about the BBC canteen that were meaningless if you were not a member of the BBC staff. If you didn't work for the BBC, you just sit at home going, ooh, wow, that sounds exciting. The BBC canteen. What? Anyway, it is no more. It is all gone. But the Blue Peter garden, Blue Peter, I think, is still on. I do not know. For a long time after I was the demographic, I carried on watching Blue Peter every now and then, so I'd know who the Blue Peter presenters were. Connie Huck, she was a Blue Peter presenter, and Diane Louise Jordan, she was a Blue Peter presenter. And who else was a Blue Peter presenter? I don't know. Some people. But since that, I don't know. John Leslie, who is infamous for doing terrible things to people. There were a few scandalous people, like, what's her name? Murder on the Dance Floor's mum. What's her name? Anyway, her name, whatever her name was, her mum was on Blue Peter, and her mum got pregnant with her while she was on Blue Peter, and it was a scandal because she wasn't married. She got pregnant, but she wasn't married, so she had to give it up in disgrace. Oh no, terrible. Janet Ellis. That's her name. Janet Ellis, who's the mother of whoever it was that did Murder on the Dance Floor. Murder on the Dance Floor. I actually think I did visit, just before it went, I went to visit the BBC Centre because they were filming Top the Pops or something, and I was working for a TV magazine. So one time I did actually visit the iconic White City building, and they were doing Top of the Pops, and actually Murder on the Dance Floor woman, not Janet Ellis, her daughter, that one. Do you know her name? Answers in postcards. Cultural understanding. Yes. Canteen. Oh yes, I suppose that people had canteens. Sophie Ellis, Baxter Ellis, Sophie Ellis, Baxter. Yeah, that's a Sophie Ellis Baxter, something like that. Anyway, she actually was performing on that Top of the Pops or whatever it was, and I remember thinking, wow, she's got massive hips. That's terrible body shaming. She did have. Surprisingly, she's a skinny bird. Oh, sexism, that's proper 1970s. But I did think, what? Because people don't look the same close up. I went to some Disney events and there were some Disney presenters, and the Disney presenters were shockingly skinny, I remember. Now, you shouldn't body shame people, but I do remember going, what? Because they look like a normal-sized person on the television. But to be a normal-sized looking person on the television, you have to be very skinny indeed in real life. Like, scary skinny. So skinny that you're like, what is that person made of paper? I can see all their veins and inside organs sticking out. That's how skinny they are. But that was just normal back in the day, when they body shamed you, like I'm doing now. Sophie Ellis Baxter, I'm sorry. She did have big hips. And all the TV presenters from Disney were skinny as hell. Like, scary. So scary. So scary. Anyway, yeah, I should probably not be mean about people. People can be mean about other people. There's lots of things to be mean about me. I understand that and I don't care. Because I don't really... it's like, fair enough, whatever. I think I give a... balls. Do you think I really care if you don't like me at all? I do actually care quite a lot, but I don't really. So that's yeah, I do really. Yeah, just scare them a little. Yeah, just be tiny, scare. I'm so scary. I'm so skinny, scary. Oh, I'm so skinny and scary. See, I look like a normal size. I'm probably like the size of a tiny ant. That's how small I am. Or if I look fat, I'm just a normal size. You know, it's just how it is. Anyway, Sophie Ellis Baxter. That can't be her name. Sophie Ellis, whatever her name is, she was there. So, coincidence. That was I just suddenly remembered. Yes, I had been to the White City building just before. I think it was more or less the last thing, because Top of the Pops wasn't a thing. But it might not have been Top of the Pops. It might have been, I think Top of the Pops had gone by then. To be honest, what was it? Something like that. Like some sort of Saturday show that they were filming. I can't even remember. Is it Top of the... I don't even know when Top of the Pops finished, but it finished quite a long time ago. When I was but a tiny child. Obviously, I was only like 6 or 7 when that was happening, even though I was working for a major publication. Yeah. And so I'm only 23 years old now. Of course I am. Ha ha! Oh, there's a thing. Have you heard of mewing? Where you stick the tongue at the top. I can't do that. My tongue's too big for my mouth. So if I'm not attractive and svelte and I've got the proper jawline, it's because I can't stick my tongue. It's awkward. My tongue, I've got a very cavernous inside of my mouth. It's sort of like a dome, like some sort of great big cavernous dome inside there, and my tongue is massive. And it's just like, no, it's too far. My tongue is so big, and yet it won't go to the top of my right. Even my massive tongue won't fit. So I think I've got a deformed inside in my mouth. which is why you've got a deformed outside of my face. Deformed. There's no such thing as deformed. Everybody is beautiful in their own way, no matter what you look like. That's Sophie Ellis Bextor with the giant hips, perfectly acceptable and normal. And skinny TV people, fine. If that's how you want to look. And every single person with every single fault. Is it a fault? No, it's just the way you look. No matter what happens, facial differences, that's fine. That's great. You are beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. All the people are beautiful. Every single person. Everyone. This is what I believe. And of course it is true. Very much true. Very true indeed. Very true indeed. And everyone's got if I stare at somebody, it's because they're fascinating to look at. Now, you shouldn't ever stare at people because it's rude and terrible. You're sort of like, sometimes though, people are so beautiful or interesting looking, you just can't help but sort of you just want to just like, I can't believe their face. It's amazing. And it works both ways. There's no such thing as ugly, to be honest. Because everybody is beautiful. And look, even the orchestra is beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, did you have a nice Halloween? People that celebrated Halloween? Was it good for you? I know that if you are in the USA at the moment, you're having a hard time. So I'm sorry if you are there. I hope you have better times soon. I'm sorry that everything's going wrong. But think of it, you'll have a massive ballroom in about 6 years. Way. Well, that's worth it then, isn't it? A massive ballroom for all this suffering and pain. Woohoo! I bet you're so grateful for the crumbs, the cake crumbs that Marie-Antoinette Trump has left you dangling. Let them eat. See, Marie-Antoinette never actually said let them eat cake. She was probably quite a nice person. Somebody, it was quoted, I think Rousseau or somebody had said that like 40 years before some great lady had said this, but they didn't say who it was. It could have been anyone, but way before Marie Antoinette was even an inkling in her mother and father's eyes. An inkling? A spark? She wasn't exist. She hadn't been born when this quote, if anyone said it. But Marie Antoinette did not say let them eat cake. It is true that she didn't say it. If she did, she was just quoting somebody else. And also, it was brioche or something rather than cake. It's like, oh, there's no cake, let them eat brioche. But it wasn't her anyway. And, it smacks of, if somebody did say it, then are they being naive? Do they honestly think that is, people have access to that, whatever? But Donald Trump, instead of saying let them eat cake, he said let them eat ball rooms. Let them eat balls. So that's nice for all of you because there's not very much else to eat, is there? But just think of what they did to Guy Fawkes. Just think of what Guy Fawkes was going to do before that thing. Just think of that. Just think of that. Think of that. Hey. I'm not suggesting anything. Just think of it. All right. Okay. Just think of that. All right. Okay. Yay. So, I'm honestly not suggesting that because that's bad. And all that happens is you will be an effigy of everything you used to be. And that's not good. So, but no, we were not celebrating Guy Fawkes or the idea of Guy Fawkes. We were celebrating the fact that he was thwarted. He was thwarted and Britain carried on. Which is good because it's good that he was thwarted because you don't want death and destruction, really. But in terms of the symbolism of what he was trying to get rid of, now don't actually do that, but symbolically you can see what he's getting at. But no, I'm not saying do that, because that's a bad thing, and you will get caught, and everyone will remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and traitors, and plot. Traitors. Ha ha ha. Anyway, traitors. What? That's what they did. They thwarted his cunning plan, and all his co-conspirators and collaborators just ran away. Nobody knew who any of them were. He wasn't on his own. He certainly wasn't on his own. But nobody was loyal enough to poor Guido Fawkes. They weren't like, oh, we'll save you from certain doom. They were like, ha ha, well, that wasn't us at least. Ha ha. I think his powder was wet or something. It got damp because of the cellars of the Houses of Parliament, which were right next to the Thames, which floods intermittently, or did back in the day when it was all stinky. It was the great stink that it was so horrible and stinky that they had to retire and go away. But that was later on in the day, and it wasn't the present Houses of Parliament that looked medieval, but actually from just around Victorian times, just around about that. They're not really old at all, but they are falling apart. I can't remember who it was, but I met somebody that had worked in the Houses of Parliament and said that they do not recommend going on a tour there because it's about to collapse any second now. It's not structurally sound. It's not a great place to go. They haven't shored it. They had to keep closing it every now and then to try and repair it, but apparently it's on the verge. So Guy Fawkes didn't even need to be there. It's just not good enough. It's not fit for purpose, which is a shame. So I think maybe they should go to America and go and use the ballroom there. Not that I'm suggesting that we should, it's just like, hello, it's not really our country anymore. It never was our country because it's not the same country. That's this as well. Your American independence, people from America, you do realise that the states that, they weren't states, the place that declared independence was a tiny, tiny chunk of what is now present America. Most of it wasn't there. Most of it was not part of the land that you started. So and the whole reason, really, when you look into it, that it wasn't about tea or taxes. It was about the fact that Britain they had a treaty with the people that actually lived there, and the people that had the Louisiana sort of, the French people that were in the south, and the actual people that lived there before anyone lived there in the west. And they were like, well, that's it then. We'll stay here. We won't go any further. We won't do expansionists. We'll just let the people that are there already and the people that have laid claim and done their own treaties, we'll leave them be. And the people in America went, no, thank you very much. We'll keep going and we'll take over everything. We'll take over the stuff that Spain has, and we'll pretend that we bought some stuff from the French. And we'll do loads of deals with the people that live here, except they won't really be deals and we won't actually stick to them. So, I think we should have the ballroom, thank you, as a compensation. But we'll share it with the people that lived there before any of you, and the people, and the French and the Spanish, and the Canadians as well. And that'll be fair. I think I might have gone too far. Anyway, on that note, that revolutionary note, oh my goodness me. I don't mean it, it's satire. It's obviously not true. None of it's true. So, bye-bye, Philip. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, everybody. Now that I've started an international incident. I brought everyone into it. Everyone that's got a claim to that land. Everyone. There's a lot of people. Yeah. Anyway, I will see you next week, hopefully. Yes, have a good week, full of good weather. Thank you, Arafinkel. Thank you, everybody. And peace be to you, American people from the USA, because I love you all.